This is my thinking hat. So I want to do maybe like 20 to 30 minutes to begin to center this idea. Also in this video, because today is Sunday, I would like to burn a candle. So let me just light it now. When y'all come in, make sure that y'all click like, make sure y'all share the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But I've been soaking up a lot of content that is created by deeply melanated people or people who have melanin. I do, watch content with Caucasian people, with people of other nationalities, but on a regular basis, I tend to consume more content of people who, I share a melanin-rich existence with. I was watching this comedian tell a story about saying, like if they was at a party, it was the one who always say, and it behooves me. And they was talking about if they was at a party and they was the only black person there, and like the white person was trying to describe them, or the Caucasian person was trying to describe them, they'll be like, "Oh, just say the black person." I'm like, you can say melanin rich, or the person with all the melanin. Like, you don't necessarily have to say black, but there's a way to differentiate without necessarily having to make it about race. But that's a whole nother video. But I wanted to post this video to begin to delve into the conversation about why black people, a lot of our strong leaders and our most influential voices in mainstream are continuing to cultivate spaces and nurture spaces that don't affirm the existence of beings who are seeking to evolve, beings who are ready to manifest the next state of existence. Like a lot of our leaders, a lot of our elders, a lot of our teachers, a lot of our guides who wear this melanin, they're still on some, you know, hey, my brother, hey, my sister. And I think it's okay to be like, hey, my brother, hey, my sister. But I also think that if we are really about evolution, if we are really about tapping into those powers, the kundalini, the Holy Spirit, whatever it is that you want to call this energy, we have to be trying to welcome the entire collective back to the table. And we need to be more adamant and more consistent about acknowledging that space of duality, that ambiguous space, that androgynous space, which is a non-binary space. Now, in Laylim Laylar, we call that wholeness, and everyone's wholeness looks different. Everyone's balance of energy looks different. And so that's why Laylim Layler is important to me, because Laylim Layler teaches that we all can be non-binary. It doesn't look the same on all of us though. We all can channel both energies. We all can feel like we're or we don't fit in any of those boxes. Like we can feel like a combination of both, or just don't see ourselves in that way. And so that's what Laylim Layler is teaching, but it is not in the way in which we're taught, through colonization. And what what I struggle with and what I want to offer pushback on and critique to the black community is, this constant, it's like y'all want us all to come together and y'all want us to stand together. A lot of the leaders, they give off this they give off this energy, and they speak in a way that says, hey, we all need to come together, all we need to work together, we all need to build, we're trying to create these communities, like Dane Calloway, to name one person specifically. Like he got the I think the 13% server, where he's legitimately trying to create a community that is going to be ready to, go up against the government. You see a lot of black teachers and black guys who are, creating this demographic of people that are going to kind of like rise up and create this new government. But the but the the failing element that I'm seeing in it is, how is it different from what the colonizer did if your goal is to create the same type of spaces, the same type of division, the same type of binary, but you're just gonna do it with melanin. It's just white supremacy dipped in chocolate. So I think if we're really trying to heal collectively, like if we're really trying to heal as a people collectively, if we're trying to uh, create a space that presents all of the information and not just parts of it. Like if we're trying to tell the whole story, like if we're trying to be more whole in how we tell the story, or if we're just gonna keep telling his story. But I think it's time to share our heritage, and the first three letters of heritage is her, and he is inside of her. So I personally like heritage. I like our story, but I think we need to get a clear understanding of which story we're trying to tell. If this is just a continuation of his story, his story, his story, if this is the continuation of that, then we need to say that and we need to be clear about it. But if we are trying to do something different, and we are indeed not trying to exclude our non-binary, our queer people, those beings who don't fit into these traditional boxes of sister and brother, but see themselves more as siblings and family, and they don't want to be acknowledged in that way. I don't think that we should seek to create a society that bounds people by gender, that bounds people into realms. Like, um I don't know, I'm just in a different place spiritually. Like I follow this other super 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 intelligent, articulate, young, deeply melanated, um womb being, um on TikTok, and I think her name is Abundance or something like that. And she was talking about, she talks about fasting, she talks about meditation, prayer, she talks about, spirituality and religion, and how she practices. And one of the things that's also different with Laylim Layler, so if you ever see me actually pray, I used to, like, when I was younger, when I my prayer style was, I would get on my knees and pray, because that's what we were taught. I get on my knees and pray every night before I go to bed. When I wanted something, I get on my knees and pray for it. I'm not So I went through, like, when I started to go through my awakening, or I was trying to break away from a religion that felt extremely oppressive. I started to pray standing up, and I started to get very much into this space of, I'm declaring and I'm proclaiming, so I'm not going to get on my knees. I am a part of the divine body. The God Goddess lives in me, the Creator lives in me. And so I would stand and I would proclaim. And so now where I am is, I stand for part of the prayer, and I also kneel for part of the prayer. So I bow during certain parts of the prayer, but I also stand during certain parts of the prayer. And the reason why I bow is because I feel it is important to honor and celebrate all things, like even those things that are beneath you. And I use this example: if you are trying to, if there's a child and you're trying to hug the child, or you're trying to embrace the child. You have to meet the child where they at. And so you have to bend your back, you have to bow down in order to embrace that child. So there are things in life, there are things in nature that are just not on the level that we are. And sometimes you have to stoop down to meet them where they are. You have to stoop down to acknowledge them. Now, I'm not going to always be stooping down, but I am going to bow. I am going to bend. I am going to prove that I can humble myself and that I can get down with the people. So I personally believe in bowing, and I also believe in standing and proclaiming. And so that's about wholeness. That's about balance. That's about me honoring even those things that people say are beneath me, because when we don't honor it all, when we don't have a balance in how we honor it all, then we start in our mind creating this idea that this is better when really it's just different. I like to use the word better. I use it all the time. It's a force of habit. I'll say, girl, it's better. Girl, this is better for you. I'll say it in a minute, but really it's just different. Depends on what results you're trying to have. Depends on what your goal is, what you're trying to accomplish, what type of lifestyle you want. Because what I eat is not gonna make you go to the bathroom. What you eat is not gonna make me go to the bathroom. Um, I shared some pictures of me with purple skin. I put them on all of my platforms. And that to me, that for me is about manifestation. Shout out to Kevin Wendell Jones. He actually made the images purple for me. Some of my favorite pictures. One of them he couldn't make purple, but the other ones, they really came out good. I love them. I made them my screensavers for all of my different pages, because I'm trying to manifest visually, like reminding myself to be whole, to be masculine and feminine, to be dark and light, to be chaos and order, to be peace in the storm, and to find my balance in those things, to learn how to dance the dance with those energies and those frequencies and those vibrations. And like when I have to go off into the deep, come back to shore, just like living my life and modeling that balance for other people, and also instilling those values into other people and cultivating those values into other beings, because that is what I want to see for them. If it's beautiful to watch empathy began to express and began to shape her own way of communicating her relationship with Laylim Layler. It's beautiful to see some of my subscribers and some of the people who join me on this post communicating and using hybrided words, saying amen, a woman, saying thank you, God, goddess, correctly spelling and pronouncing Laylim Layler. All of these things are nurturing the culture. All of these things are nurturing the teachings. And again, this is not something that's new. This is just something that's different. There are a lot of people who are practicing wholeness. There's a lot of people. Seven Bozeman, he says wholeness tribe, but Seven Bozeman is another one who has a tendency to say brothers and sisters. He's another one who has the tendency to leave out that aspect of us that does not identify with the binary. And so, you know, just until and a lot of us don't even want to admit that we don't see ourselves as one or the other. We just don't want to feel left out. We just don't want to feel alienated. We don't want to feel isolated. And we want to feel a sense of community. This is why a lot of black people, when they get to a certain age, they ain't went to church their whole life, never was bothered with church, never really cared for church. And you see them, turning to the church because they want community. They want to feel they belong. They want to feel connected to something. They want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of a tribe. And if we're gonna keep it real, the church is a big tribe. The church is especially the black church. And so, but you see this, you see a lot of people, the church be empty. When children get a certain age, you can make them go to church when they like 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then, when they start getting in their teens, they got every excuse in the world about why they can't go, and then for a whole season, they be out of the church. And they really be out there in them streets because they really, really don't vibe with what's being taught to them in church. But then after you get to a certain age, you just start accepting stuff. The older you just start accepting, this is what it is. And unfortunately, that's sad, and it's disappointing that we live in a reality where we just have to accept it because there's no other choices. And in a nation like America with so much diversity and so many different kinds of people, it's just unfortunate that we live in a society um where black people are still navigating, bringing us together collectively, feeling that there has to be a divide, that it has to be either you go with the men or you go with the women, either you're my brother or you're my sister. And the reason why I chose to make Donald Trump's image the cover of this video is because everyone is saying that Donald Trump is gonna take away trans rights. Donald Trump is gonna take away LGBT rights. And I have publicly said on numerous occasions that trans is my slave name. Trans is the name in which the government has given me, and government officials have given me, in order for me to get the benefits that I get, in order for me to get the crumbs that fall off of Master's table. A man, a woman. So it's like that saying, the Lord give it, the Lord take it away. The Lord is our government. The Lord give it, the Lord take it away. The Lord gave abortion rights, and then the Lord took it away. The Lord gave you a right to get married, so the Lord can take it away. And so we have to become more active in creating our own language. We have to become more accurate. We have to become more persistent, more just it has to be something that we just live. It has to become something lived that can't be taken from us. This dedication and this commitment to creating our own language in our own terms, so that we'll always be able to advocate for ourselves, so that we will always be able to explain our identity and explain who we are in a way that is undeniable. And when you're doing that work, you can do that. But when you're waiting on Master to give you something, when you're waiting on Master to name you and to tell you this is what's going to be acceptable, then that's how you lock yourself in. Because what Master give you, Master can take from you. Nobody can take something from you that is yours. Like, it's true. Like, you can't take away the fact that I'm whole. You can't take away the fact that I am melanated. Like, you can't take that. These are things you can't take away from me. These are things that are inherently mine. And so when you know who you are, and you know how to speak to who you are without even communicating their language in the way that they use it. Like, I could sit up here and talk about my experience and talk about who I am without ever saying that I'm trans. I could talk about who I am without ever saying I'm queer. I could talk about who I am and tell you who I am without saying I'm non binary. I could tell you who I am and help you to understand who I am in a very simple way. I say it all the time. I am my mother and my father, my grandmother and my great grandfather, my great grandfathers, and my great grandmothers. That's who I am scientifically, biologically, genetically. And if I resonate more with my mothers and my grandmothers and my great grandmothers, and it is their DNA that flows through my veins, it's their blood also that flows through my veins. Why? What's weird about me choosing to show up in a way that's predominantly feminine? Like when we're taught to think using our whole brains and we're not just indoctrinated with half truths, we become better advocates and better communicators for ourselves. And no one can take something from you when you know how to defend who you are and you know how to use your own understanding and your own ability to communicate to defend who you are. So, what I'm saying is, no one can take something away from you that is yours. No one can threaten to erase you if you know who you are. They can only take back what they gave you. They can take back your labels. They can not acknowledge your labels, but sweetheart, it's just like what's going on with the marijuana in what's going on with the marijuana in um in Atlanta. They done made it illegal again. But baby, them people gonna change up the language. They're gonna come with some new terminology, and it's gonna be back legal because there's too much coins. So see, baby, work on your evolution. Work on evolving. Work on creating spaces that allow for us to have conversations and dialogue and communicate in ways that allow the truth to flow in all of its nuances and all of its complexities. Create those spaces for that type of dialogue and that type of communication to flow, and no telling what will raise, no telling what you will cultivate in those spaces that will be prepared to combat whatever is coming at us. But if we keep alienating people from spaces because we're not prepared to grapple with the fact that it's more than ma'am and sir. It's more than bruh and sis. Like, because we're not willing to grapple with that. We're not willing to expose our offspring to that, our children to that, because some of us are not willing to do that. We will continue to stagnate our community as a whole. We will continue to stagnate Black America, Black indigenous people as a whole will continue to because that's the edge. Like if you notice, like when we even see shows where it's like trans versus cis and they throw a non-binary person in, the non-binary person is always Caucasian, because it's like they want to paint this narrative in society that only Caucasian people are worthy or acceptable to be able to give you some non-binarities. Like Caucasian people are the only ones who have that ability and that strength. Caucasians are the ones, they have the knowledge and they have the awareness and they have the teachings. So mainstream, you're always going to see some type of Indian looking person or some type of Caucasian person that's being the non-binary person. But we really don't see, like in mainstream, a lot of Black non-binary people. So I wanted to get that idea out. I wanted to share that. We did a amazing panel discussion last night. I haven't had a chance to edit it today because I have been just really, really just relaxing from the amazing party, the amazing get together that we had last night. And so I just been relaxing today, just kind of like recharging and rejuvenating. And yeah, that's what it's been for me. So I am going to check in with y'all later, but I wanted to come in and I wanted to put that out there into the universe. Like I want to put that on. I want to go on record of saying that we got to do better at creating spaces that don't just like this is something I would task all of the elders who call themselves doing this work in the black community of really bringing us together because you know you can't say that you're trying to heal us and you're trying to do something different than the government and keep creating these colonial spaces like we got to come up out of that. That's not what our ancestors was doing. They literally had a ritual that said if you went for the bowl, you was if you went for the bowl, you was a you picked you was a gatherer, and if you went for that bowl, you was a hunter, and it didn't matter what sex you were. So our ancestors understood that that energy does not always align with genitalia. Like they literally understood that, and so we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing right now? So anyway, the candle is lit, and this candle is in honor of our ancestors, past, present, and future. The ones who have come, the ones who will come, and the ones who are here now. Remember to light your candle, and when you blow it out on the physical plane, it prepares us for times that are now. Ashe. Make sure y'all click that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you for all of your support. Down below now that I say cool, keep spinning and turning. Ian Gani, Iyanko Kalukalo, which means I'm a child of God Goddess. And if I am, you know you are bound and round, both circle and square. We too speak life, so operations beware, sending healing to those in despair. El Babosawa, which means we come in peace, no harm to any. Leilem, Leiler.